What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back for a brand new episode of Chaos Head Noah. Last time on, Takumi decided to investigate further into the new gen murders to find quite literally anything on any of it. But he did find a couple of forum posts talking about this goth band named Phantasm that some people believe that their lyrics actually correlate with the new gen murders and that they're allegories before the murders even happen, which gets Takumi interested. So he decides to go over to one of their concerts and try to get a CD, but he's kind of forced into the concert by his friend. And once he's in there, he has yet another delusion, a wet delusion, and he really learns nothing. So he returns back to his home base. But before he goes there, he actually meets up with Nanami, who decides to get him a brand new phone because she's a nice sister. And then they go over to McDonald's, and Takumi's always complaining because, like, just saying, like, oh, look at this gluttonous beast eating a goddamn fish sandwich. It's like, bro, come on now. Come on, Takumi. Come on. Get your head out of your own ass, man. Like, Jesus. But before they went over there, he did notice a girl holding like a giant, like, quote unquote, foam sword, which I don't think it was a foam sword, because after which he is informed by Grimm that a third murder has taken place of New Gen, where the guy's skin is green. And no, his first layer of skin is like peeled off. Then underneath it, his like skin is green or whatever. But the most important thing about that is there was a message written in blood that says, "Whose eyes are those eyes?" Which confirms by this point, whoever's doing the new gen murders knows that aspect about Takumi. Either that or somebody saw that on the blackboard at the academy. So it has to be someone at the academy or that knows Takumi. So it's looking like a Shogun who could be Takumi. We don't know. But yeah, just more questions. Like, really no answers at all. It really does feel like we're Takumi in the situation of, like, stuff just keeps happening over and over, and we try our best to figure things out while also having to deal with the damn delusions, which, confuse things even more. And we've come up with nothing. We got nothing, really. Except that Takumi's the most suspicious guy so far. So, I'm curious as to where this goes, so let's get right into it. Late night, Shibuya, 4 a.m. Despite being named the city that never sleeps, very few people are currently present at the most popular locale, Scramble Crossing. Instead, many taxis were parked in their place, ready to carry away the drunks, unwilling to wait for the first train of the morning. A generous amount of the drivers were reclined in their seats, napping. The more diligent drivers leaned against their steering wheels as their eyes started idly towards the hotspots, the most frequent ones being Center Guy on the 107 building. I have to say, Shibuya really is like the New York of Japan, isn't it? The city that never sleeps. Same thing with New York. And, the crossings, like the Scramble Crossing, you can correlate that with, like, Times Square. It's very interesting. However, they were not trying to ascertain whether or not any of the passerbys were potential customers. Instead, they were focused intently on the movements of the sanitation workers who had arrived about 30 minutes before. The 5 to 6 men were thought to be sanctioned workers due to their yellow armbands, each of which had sanitation reporter written on them. It was very likely that, without the armbands, no one would have recognized them as such, for there was something particularly odd about the men. They were all wearing black suits. Oh god, we got fucking men in black. Furthermore, ever since their arrival, they had yet to show any signs of cleaning at all. Instead, one man held a strange instrument resembling a pendulum, and the surrounding men appeared to be measuring something. The hell? This was not restricted to just the one area, however. From the center of Scramble Crossing to the very edge of it, they left no spot untouched, writing all of their findings down on various scraps of paper. Even now, they were taking measurements from directly beneath the traffic signals, silently observing the movements of the pendulum. At last, the instrument let out a small chime. What the
地点
hell?
L2 の8 0.62 メガ GE ハイスコアです
Mega GE.
先月より38ポイントもアップか。思った通りだ。
But there was no one present in the early morning Shibuya to pay attention to the odd mumbling and behavior. The taxi drivers would speed off as soon as patrons boarded their cars, quickly forgetting about the mysterious sanitation workers. The drunks were hardly conscious, leaving them unable to see anything around them to begin with. Female nightlife workers who had just clocked out, finally free from the stress of smiling at repulsive drunkards, jumped into taxis to get home as soon as possible. Thus, not a single person was around to notice that the government had not scheduled any plans whatsoever for cleaning to take place that morning. Ooh, what the fuck is going on? Maybe it's similar to that maybe Takumi didn't dream up that man in black when he was younger. But what the hell does Takumi have to... Well, no. There was this one thing that Shogun said that has always just been in the back of my head of the world's possibilities have been limited. Like the possibility of this world has been limited to like this exact equation, right? But what does that mean? What exact is there like something has happened to make sure that's like a certain event occurs in this timeline, let's say. Like, a certain event has to occur because the possibilities have been limited. Maybe that's what those guys were measuring? The possibilities? But how the hell do you measure that? Even after the weekend had passed, the upward brought on by the fourth new-gen case, now dubbed the Vamp Buyer incident, hadn't even come close to coming down. That's right. It was listed on, like, eBay or whatever the fuck for, like, how much yen. Now, why the hell would they do that? Why would the murderer do it in plain sight? A listing of it. Like, why would they do that? Because, well, I mean, no. This would make sense. They want to spread the new generation fear, right? Because each one of these murders are just so extraordinary. Like the first one, it was a suicide. It's a group suicide. Of course, people are going to notice that. Second one, it was a guy stuffed with a fetus. Third one, a guy pinned to a wall with a bunch of crosses. Now, fourth, it's a guy who has green skin and was listed on eBay. Obviously, whoever is the culprit behind the new gen murders wants it to be noticed. They want it to spread around. They want to like incite this hysteria, this miasma, you could say, about the new gen murders. They want the media to look at it because all of them, every single one, is just you can't look away from it. You cannot like it is set up to be like looked at. But what is the point of that? What exactly is the point of that? Of why make it so outrageous that people have to notice it? It's just the more I ask, the more questions get brought up, you know? A man's corpse had been found with all of its blood taken out of it, leaving the surface of the body a sickly, inhuman shade of green. Jesus. It had been discovered in a bathroom at Shibuya Station, a part of the Inkusha line. In addition, it was uncovered that a photograph of the corpse had been posted to an online auction, and considering the abnormality and brutality of the murder, it was inevitable that both the mass media and ad channel jumped on it. Special attention had been paid to the headline of the auction page, which read, "Type B blood in short supply." Tissue packs advertising an upcoming blood drive had been handed out in large quantities in front of Shibuya Station a few days prior to the incident, and the exact same message had been written on them. Yeah. I had one of those tissue packs on hand. Reading back over it again now, the insanely strange words didn't read like an ad for a blood drive anymore. They read like some kind of advanced message of the crime. Huh. The police had supposedly been searching for the part-timers handing out the tissue packs, but they had yet to find any of them. Oh, shit. What if this is like an organization? It would explain the first, able to walk, 6 people on a rooftop, forcing them to jump. Hand out tissue packs for it, but why? If it's an organization, what the hell is the point? Why put so much, I guess best way to put it, like showsmanship in these murders? However, there was one area where the vampire differed pretty heavily from the previous cases. While there had already been elements of it in the crucifixion case, the intent for it to be a theatrical crime was much more obvious with this one. Yeah, what I've been saying. A few media outlets had begun clamoring for increased police presence via patrols or for a late-night curfew for people under 18. But the number of young people visiting the city showed no signs of decline. They were just as packed as usual, people flooding every nook and cranny of Center Guile and Scramble Crossing. The internet was so thirsty for news, a group of people trying to be Snake had snuck into Shibuya late at night to post live updates, and there had also been a phrase that was trending among the city's younger population. Whose eyes are those eyes? Now everybody knows it. It wasn't just online either. That phrase had penetrated the ranks of each and every DQN walking around Shibuya. On that channel, it had become common practice to tack the phrase onto anything, regardless of if it was worded or not. This week's CP Bloodtune won't have much Sheraton, whose eyes are those eyes. The new patch's weapons are so weak they're actually unusable, whose eyes are those eyes. What? Whose eyes are those eyes is that from? And so on. To people my age, New Gen was probably just something new and exciting to follow, the newest shit store show to obsess over. But to me, it was the most aggravating thing possible. Yeah. Regardless, a whole 3 days had passed since the vampire case, so I'd been able to calm down a little. Of course, there was still a nagging uneasiness in the corner of my mind, but by losing myself in ESO over the weekend, I've been able to temporarily forget about all that irritating, inexplicable garbage. Even though I've had to go to school today, I've been able to get through my classes by either sleeping through them or thinking about the stats and frame data of ESO's rarest items. I guess I've leveled up a little bit. Of course, I level up. Fucking Takumi is the type of guy that would wear a shirt that said, "I paused my ESO to be here. This better be good." And so, on my way home from school, I stopped by at Cafe for the first time in a while, and it made me happy to see that the room I usually used, room 37, was vacant and ready for me. The last time I'd set foot in it was at least 2 weeks ago, meaning that this was the longest gap I'd ever had between visits. The sour breeze flowing from the air conditioning, the manga stained with the smell of tobacco, how comfortable it was to sit back in the recliner, the snores of old men cutting through the silent, still air. It all provided the store's interior with an aura of pure nostalgia.
ルーム37の PC のチャットログを調べさせてもらいました。
Boo.
そこから分かったことは、あなた一人の自作自演。将軍はあなた自身。
Damn. Remembering that? I hadn't seen Yua since then. We were different grades, and I didn't go to school that often, so it made sense why and come across each other.
ユアの妄想はすごいよ。
Says you. I couldn't help but pity her. She was clearly sick in the head. I'd be better off just leaving her be. Besides, meeting her at all had been a freak accident. Over the past 2 weeks or so, I've been dragged into all sorts of random bullshit. Before then, my everyday life had been completely vanilla, and Misumi-kun was pretty much the only one who talked to me. So why was it that basically nothing but weird, inexplicable bullshit had been happening to me recently? Well, maybe that's the limitations of the world's possibilities, Takumi. Maybe. Who knows? I wanted to avoid thinking about that garbage as much as humanly possible. That dying message had to be just a coincidence. Really, man? The words were all pretty common after all. If I'd thought of it, there was no reason someone else would have been able to as well. I had no interest in who that message was aimed at. No, I couldn't be interested. That was what I told myself, anyhow. Shit. Suddenly, something started ringing nearby. I jolted up in surprise, and a shudder ran through me as I stayed rooted in my recliner. It was the sound of a phone ringing, but whose was it? Yours? Because the store was so quiet, the electronic sound rang out all the louder. I looked around, but I couldn't locate a phone anywhere.
もしかして
The thought came to mind, and I fished around in my bag. Sure enough, the ringing was coming from the cell phone I bought just a few days prior. I glanced wide away at the LCD display. Normally, the caller's name would be displayed there. Unknown. What the hell? Was it a good idea to answer? Didn't like talking to people that much, so probably not. Who the hell was calling me anyway? I hadn't told anyone my phone number yet. The only people who knew it even existed were my family, and with Nanami's noisy ass and making sure to put them in my address book. When one of the people registered my address book called, their name should display, meaning that whoever was calling wasn't a family member. So, who was this? Scam caller. The phone kept on ringing persistently. Did people who had phones usually force people to listen to their ringing for this long? I never used one of them before, so I wouldn't know, but it was incredibly annoying. To suddenly invade someone's privacy like this, cursing them with an obnoxious ringing until they picked up. Bro, the phone's still ringing. It's a socially acceptable way to invade someone's privacy. That was exactly why I didn't want one of these stupid things. Oh, it stopped. Relieved, I checked the screen again. Missed calls 1 was displayed on it. I had no interest in returning this random's call, so I decided to leave it be. It'd be a pain in the ass if this happened again in the future, so I should really figure out how to set up my voicemail. Cell phones are such a pain in the ass. I didn't even like phones to begin with. Can't even play games on them. I mean, come on, they were freaky as hell. How exactly were you supposed to know if the person you were talking to on the other end was the actual person you thought it was? With how prevalent fraud was nowadays, were people actually taking the proper measures to make sure they were talking to the right person? I couldn't help but wonder how people would be able to calmly have a conversation with someone who might be an impersonator. Brother, you do the same thing on the internet. Even if I understood the gist of how it worked, it was hard to believe that my voice could somehow reach distant places through a phone line. When you talk on the phone, your voice is temporarily converted into electrical signals. They pass through the phone lines until they reach the recipient, where they are then restored back to normal. That's when they became audible. In order to talk on the phone, you need to go through this conversion process at least twice. With a cell phone, your voice is first converted into electrical signals. Then it travels to your nearby base station via radio waves, which then run through normal phone lines to the switching station, then to the closest base station to the recipient, before finally arriving at their cell phone right afterward. It was a bizarre, complicated process. If my voice was replaced by electrical signals, could the other party really hear my voice, word for word, exactly as I sent it? Maybe. I don't know, man. In fact, wasn't it possible that in the conversation process, my voice, my words could be transformed into something completely different? I mean, hell, man, I've recorded my voice, like... I feel like by this point, like 1,000 hours? So many goddamn instances of, like, my voice in different recordings that it could be transformed into something completely different. And, you know, the whole AI voice thing as well recently, so... who can say what is a true voice, you know? For instance, if I called Nanami, but instead of connecting to her, I connected to some strange, shady facility. And there I would end up talking to someone I had never met, who was only pretending to be Nanami. Maybe they wouldn't even be a person, but a computer instead. Well, son of a bitch, Takumi, you don't have to worry about that for a good, say, 15 years. That was the big reason why phone calls freaked me out so much. They were even scarier than talking to someone face to face. When I'd logged into ESO as Wiswite, as was often the case, 3 hours passed by in the blink of an eye. It'd been 2 weeks since I last used her, but she made for a pretty good support, so I was feeling pretty satisfied. I left Ad Cafe in a good mood and started heading home. Since her guy was as packed and noisy as usual, which irritated me. The bright lights illuminating the streets from the various shops made it hard to believe it was nighttime. And at the end of the Wildwood Road, despite the crowds, I clearly saw her, causing me to stop dead in my tracks. That one girl, Yua? Oh! Okay. So that's the same girl with... Yeah, that's one hell of a fucking sword. Jesus. In the midst of so many people, she glared directly at me. Wait, isn't that the same girl that, like, tried to pick on Takumi back in, like, fucking, like, episode 2, if I remember? Before he went to Yua? Right smack in the middle of the center guy, where people were coming and going without reprieve, where it was difficult to even walk straight. She stood still, resting that gigantic sword she carried on her shoulder. The spectacle was completely absurd. And yet, no one paid her sword any mind. The stream of people flowed right past her with no change in demeanor. She was the girl I'd seen at 107. She had been there when Nanami was dragging me around to buy a cell phone. The shape of her sword, whose Surume uniform, her long black hair, everything matched perfectly. Back then, she had been standing at the top of the stairs in front of 107, watching passersby come and go. And I remembered the sharpness of her glare. I had met her once before at school, yup. She had those almond-shaped eyes and clean-cut, model-like features, and yet they only served to make her seem all the more unapproachable, and it was all capped off by that long, silky black hair that stretched all the way down to her waist. She was Girl B, the one who had so rudely probed me in the corridors after school one day, asking me who I was. Come to think of it, why was she glaring at me? Thinking maybe it wasn't me she was looking at, I turned around. Usually when something like that happened, more often than not, they were just looking at someone who happened to be behind me, but that wasn't the case here. The one she was glaring at, her gaze filled with intense hostility, had to be me. I froze. I knew now what it felt like to be someone's prey. Glaring back was out of the question. I was always terrible at looking people in the eye, so I couldn't help but stare down at the pavement. I should run. Normally, I'd go home by taking a left at Scramble Crossing, where she was standing, and then I would end up next to Buckfat, but today I headed for the station instead. There were a lot of people there, but I'd rather that than deal with some scary 3D girl harassing me. Hell, she might even try to mug me. Yeah, maybe, giant fucking sword, it's kind of terrifying, yeah. Or maybe she was only feigning being alone. She actually had several DQNs working nearby, waiting for her to lure me in so they could beat the shit out of me. To be honest, he probably one-shot me. Like I'd fall for that. I swerved to the light, only to be caught completely off guard. What? Somehow the girl was right in front of me. Frustrated, I turned back around to look at Scramble Crossing. She was no longer there. I looked in front of me once again. The girl with the sword was still glaring at me, just as she'd been before. What the fuck? What the hell? When'd she get around me? Well, probably because you were stuck in your own mind for like a good, minute. Waves could only move so fast. That was practically teleportation. Besides, how could she have predicted that I'd turn around in the first place?
Oi.
Her voice reached my ears with extreme clarity. I frantically looked around me. I wanted to think she was talking to someone else, even though I already knew full well who she was talking to. I searched for anyone else she could be directing that hey you toward. But obviously, there was no one. A number of businessmen walking by glanced at Girl B inquisitively, only to realize she wasn't talking to them and walked away. Girl B, who had been standing there imposingly the entire time, took a sudden step toward me. That was all the confirmation I needed. Girl B had been targeting me after all.
お前
Oh shit!
見えるのか
See what? Rude as ever, in my 17 years of life, I could probably count the number of times a girl had talked to me like this on one hand. Well, I guess there were times when Kiramaya Tsubaki, aka Tsusenko, had talked to me like that, but it was in a tsundere kind of way. Who the fuck is Kiramaya Tsubaki? Granted, Tsukunira was just a two-girl girl from the Eroge Tell Me doll. Of course it is. Girl B kept getting closer and closer as those stupid thoughts raced through my head. Why does she feel so intimidating even though she's a girl? I wondered, but the reasons were simple. The big fucking sword, the sharp look in her eyes, and the gigantic sword she was carrying. For a sword, it had a very unique shape. It was the kind of thing that operated on anime logic. It had an awesome design, but if you actually used it in real life, it'd be completely unusable. It had to be from some mecha anime. Have there been any mecha anime that started airing recently? Even though I knew it was a prop for some random anime cosplay, it still looked incredibly sharp and stolid, like if you even so much as touched it, it would slice your fingers clean off. What a strange sword.
見えるのかと聞いている
What, see the gigantic sword? Yeah. Girl B had already cut the distance between us by 2 meters. If she swung her sword, it would hit me. Flustered, I took a step back, but it was too late. Girl B closed the distance further and further. She'd actually swung the sword. Okay. Huh. Do I go for good or bad delusion here? Maybe I should... You know what? I want to go for normal. Like, let's have no delusions this time, because I feel like this one's, like, very interesting. Like, I want to know more about this damn sword. So let's save here. Let's just have like, no delusions this time. Cowering on the spot, I covered my head. If I hadn't dodged it, it would have hit my head for sure. Doubted it would have cut me, but with that kind of force behind it, it would have given me a concussion, permanently dented my skull. I hated pain. I was so shaken that my speech got all messed up. Girl B looked down at me coldly. This chick wasn't normal, waving a sword around in the middle of a crowd. Wait, was she in the midst of a hit and run? Was she a spree killer? Or could she be the new gen culprit? Or the demon girl's accomplice?
助けて殺さないで
The next thing I knew, I was trembling. Felt like I was this close to pissing myself out of sheer terror.
何を勘違いしている
A bit.
私は
Some
ただ
things.
見えるのかと聞いているだけだ
What the hell was she talking about? If I said I couldn't see it, would she kill me? How was I supposed to answer if I didn't even know what I was supposed to be seeing?
少し落ち着けもう一度聞くぞこの剣ディソードが見えるのか
DL sword? What the fuck is a DL? DL sword? DI. It was the first time I'd ever heard that word. I had to be referring to the sword she was holding, but I decided to just nod. I mean, I obviously could see it. There'd be something wrong with me if I couldn't. Lugging around a sword that large and conspicuous, and center guy no less. What if nobody else can see it? Without love, it cannot be seen. Anyway, I'd be willing to accept it if it was Akiba, but in Shibuya of all places?
そうかお前も集められたんだ
Gathered? Fuck's that supposed to mean? Gathered? Who? And by who? At the very least, I was definitely here voluntarily.
エラーを見たことがあるか
Error? In Japanese, please. was what I wanted to say, but unsurprisingly, I wasn't brave enough then. And again, if I said the wrong thing, she'd probably stab me, so. Regardless, the chick had been sprouting nothing but nonsense ever since she first opened her mouth.
見たら教えろ
An error? After she said that, Girl B turned around, her skirt fluttered in the breeze, and I could almost see her panties, of course, man. I hurriedly shut my eyes.
私は3年の青い瀬名
What, are you like a fucking magical girl? Cause my big fucking sword.
駅前の
Alcema.
電車にいる
Okay, I opened my eyes. The girl calling herself Senna had vanished. I was completely stunned. It wasn't until I ran back at my base that I realized I hadn't understood a single goddamn word she said. Yeah. Find an error. Now, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Despite everything going on, I had to go to school 3 times this week. Somebody kill me. An error. The hell? A mysterious screech resounded from far away. The sudden nature of it made me jump, and when I slowly looked in the direction it came from...
鬼
Nanami rushed towards me with a staggering speed. I tried to run away, but it was too late. She had already circled around me and blocked my path. She always did have amazing reflexes.
ちょっとなんで妹見て逃げるの
Maybe because you're incredibly annoying.
あ、そうやってすぐ黙るし
Damn it, why had she decided to go to Sume of all places? This decision had done nothing but cause me endless pain and suffering. After she ran into me on the way to school, she always stuck her nose in my business without fail.
ねえねえ携帯どう使ってる使ってないでしょ買ってからもう何日か経ってるけど一度も家にかけてこないもんね
Doing my best to break free, I started speed walking, but Nami was determined to keep up.
家に生存報告の電話ぐらいしなよそのために買ったんだからどうしても嫌ならその7の携帯にかけるだけでもいいからさ
Aw.
お母さん心配してるんだからねそもそもちゃんとご飯食べてんのどうせコンビニ弁当ばっかなんでしょやっぱお兄に一人暮らしは無理なんだよ家に帰ってきなよ
Well, I mean, it's not like I have a kitchen in that damn shipping container.
ナナがどんな気持ちでお兄の様子見に行ってるか分かってるいつも心配でしょうがないんだからね
Shut the fuck up! What the hell's your problem? Are you my mom or something? Bro, stop talking shit about shit like this when we're on the side of the road. It's humiliating. I'd already been feeling like shit, yet this bitch had somehow managed to come along and make me feel worse. God damn it, Takumi. There was nothing on this earth more embarrassing than walking to school with your younger sister. The situation came about quite often in Woge. Hell, I'd always longed for it to happen to me, but Nanami was nothing compared to 2 deep little sisters. Less than nothing. Of course, man, come on. Damn it, world, give me a cuter younger sister. The slightly tense atmosphere hung in the air between us as we walked side by side towards school. I looked at Nanami to see if there was any chance of escape before we reached the gate. Even though she had been yammering on and on just a bit ago, she had fallen completely silent, now walking with an absent-minded look on her face. It even probably looked like her eyes weren't really focused on the road, but that was probably just my imagination. The footsteps were unsteady. Something must be wrong with her, I suspected. She kept on swaying back and forth, and about a moment later she stumbled right out onto the road, right as a car came racing toward her. Oh shit.
危ない
Panicking, I grabbed Nanami's arm and yanked her back. The horn of a car blared as it sped by. She just barely avoided getting run over.
お前何やってんだ
あれ
Nanami blinked a few times and tilted her head to the side.
ナナ、今なんであんなこと。
The hell?
あれ
I was at a loss for words. She was an honest-to-God fucking idiot. She didn't even understand her own actions. For the record, that wasn't Moe. Not even close!
何やってるんだよ。車にひかれたいのか。
車なんて来てた？
Yes, there was a car! What was up with this total fucking ditz of a sister?
ねえお兄、今ヒュンヒュンヒュンっていう音聞こえなかった？
Whirling sound? What? What was she talking about? I didn't jack shit.
その音聞いてたらね、なんだかぼんやりした感覚になって。
Fuzzy, huh?
で、あそこに
Nanami pointed at the corner of the road.
お父さんとお母さんが立ってて、ナナを呼んでたの。
What? When I walked to where Nanami was pointing, I didn't see our parents. Instead, I saw a creepy man standing in that exact spot. He wore a plaid shirt, fingerless gloves, jeans rolled up at the bottom, and white sneakers. He had a rucksack on his back that was filled to bursting. He looked like an otaku poik straight out of Akihabara. Huh. Capping off his outfit, he was holding a video camera in one hand. Did he have a voyeur fetish or some shit?
おい、他人を指さすな。
Fuzzy, huh? Alright, let me go on a limb here. I know it's not much to work on, but let me go on a limb here. There was that explanation about, you know, phone calls and such involving electrical signals, right? So, Denpa. If you do not know, Denpa is a kind of like horror subgenre in Japan. Basically what Denpa means is like electrical signals, like from like phone lines and such, mess with people's heads. It's a type of like psychological horror, right? Where like electrical signals fuck with people's heads and like they turn to like horrible shit like murder and whatnot. What if this is something along those lines? Because the way she said like my mind turned fuzzy. And fuzzy reminds me of like TV static, like TV fuzziness, you know, between channels and whatnot. So what if it has to do something with the electrical signals? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like that's that far-fetched of an idea at this point. God, what a rude-ass sister. Besides, it makes no sense for our parents to be here in the first place. They lived in Shimo Kitazawa, after all.
おかしいな。確かに呼ばれたのに。
Huh. The man started walking our way. Then he pointed the camera lens at us. What? What the hell was wrong with him?
行くぞ、ナナミ。
Fat guy, plaid shirt, backpack. I don't know why, but that description kind of reminds me of Haru from Science Gate. Yeah. Blighted, I quickly ran from the scene, leaving Nanami behind. Great
あ、
brother.
お兄、ちょっと待ってよ。
I continued to ignore Nanami until we got to school, upon which I ditched her to walk down the noisy as ever hallway toward my classroom. When walking down the hallway, stay along the edge. Don't walk too fast or too slow. Don't make eye contact with anyone. Those were the three rules I always followed. That was how I didn't stand out in school, transformed myself into an existence akin to air itself. That was my secret to success.
よ、タク。
Yet people like him definitely made it hard for it to actually work. Catching up to me from behind, Masumi-kun greeted me in this normal, overly fun-way fashion by clapping a hand on my shoulder. I thought it was going to say, by clapping a hand on my ass.
おいっす。挨拶ぐらいしろって。ま、お前がそういうやつだってのは分かってるけどよ。なあ、この前 D 組の女子の話したよな。 めったに学校来ねえけど、すげえ可愛い女子がいるって。
Sure, man.
その子、岸本綾瀬って名前なんだけどよ。
Kishimoto. That's not right.
実はその岸本に関してすげえ発見したんだ。
Misumi-kun suddenly lowered his voice, then looked around us. This was just going to be something vulgar, wasn't it? Already tired of his BS, I almost let out a sigh.
フェスいるだろ。フェス。
Fess. Oh, wait, what? But what he said made me bite it back.
その岸本ってのがフェスなんだよ。
Oh, shit.
俺マジビビったぜ。まさかフェスがうちの学校の生徒だなんてよ。しかも俺らとダメだってことだぜ。
For whatever reason, Masumi-kun leaned his upper body out the window, then gazed up towards the sky with a look of pure ecstasy.
運命ってきっとこういうことを言うんだな。
Of course. This was the third floor. If he were to slip, he'd fall to the ground and break his neck, ending his life just like that. My anxiety suddenly climbed as I watched him. Misumi-kun leaned farther and farther and farther out the window before switching his gaze down toward the entrance beneath it.
お、噂をすればなんとやらだタク。岸本を発見した。もうすぐここに来るぜ。
With so many coincidences piling up one after the other, maybe it really was fate. Not that I cared.
よし、
Totally not.
待ち構えてやる。見てろタク。俺のナンパ術ってのを見せてやるよ。
Of course, man. He was brimming with self-confidence. Man, alpha males like him were impressive. Picking up girls and all that was a completely different world for me. It wasn't even worth trying. You don't even... let's all be honest here, Takumi. The real people that won this world are Sigmas. Well, me, I was just a beta cuck male. Fucking stupid bullshit. When Masumi-kun fucking wasn't Andrew Tate. Yeah, maybe. A few moments later, FES, Kishimoto Ice appeared. It was just like Masumi-kun said. She really was FES. Made sure of that while observing her from a safe distance. Still couldn't believe she was in the same year as us. She was wearing a sumo uniform. The distinct aloofness came from her expression as she walked slowly down the hallway. It gave off a completely different impression than the one she had on stage. Back then, despite her apathetic tone, it felt a sense of power and liveliness emanating off of her. But now the aura she gave off felt listless and unapproachable. Ignoring this, like we deliberately, Masumi-kun strolled over to her with the same overly friendly attitude he always had with me, and casually stopped right next to her.
Yo, Kishimoto-san. Oh, hayo.
Whoa, his smile was so invigorating, despite being so obviously fake. I had no idea how he was able to act like that around someone he barely knew. That's why we love him. That's why we admire him. Then again, I don't really want to be him.
あ、俺三角大輔。よろしく。おっと、初対面とか思ってるだろう。でも違うんだな、これが。俺さ、こないだファンタズムのライブ行ったんだよね。だから、君に会うのは2度目。
It's the second time.
で、その時君の歌声に、こう、なんつうの？ビビってきちゃったんだ。別に俺、ミーハーとかじゃねえよ。惹かれたのはさ、詩とか君の可愛さとか、そういうところもあるけど、でも何より一番すげえって思ったのは、やっぱバンドとしての完成度っつうか。
Thought you said you were going out with her for a couple weeks, Masumi, you fucking wire.
あの音あっての君の歌声っつうの？ちなみに俺も実はバンドやりたいなって思っててさ、よかったらああいういいバンドメンバーを見つけるコツとか、バンドの先輩としての心得みたいなもの教えてくんねえかな。
I don't think this is working out, man.
あ、今すぐじゃ迷惑だろうから。そうだな。放課後とか暇？どっかで二人きりでじっくり話さない？
Masumi-kun just kept on talking and talking with no breaks. His tone was different than usual, and it was obviously fake. Not only that, but he wasn't hitting on her directly, instead using the band angle in order to invite her somewhere nonchalantly. I never heard this fun fact about Masumi-kun wanting to start a band before. Had to be a lie. He was willing to go that far in order to win some points, force a flag rather than obtaining it naturally. But... oh. Now what the hell is this? FES didn't even so much as look at him. Ooh. She simply continued to walk down the hallway at the same pace, as if not a sound had reached her ears. Okay, now what the hell, now what the hell is this delusion going to be? Let's choose, we haven't had a bad one in a while, so let's do a bad one.
なあ聞いてる
Suddenly, FES stopped in her tracks, her slightly lowered gaze slowly rose up, and then... she looked at me. Oh, shit. Huh? Me? Come to think of it, the same thing that happened at the concert. Felt like FES was staring directly at me. Just in general, I'd been stared at by a whole bunch of freaky 3D girls over the past couple weeks. God, what the hell is going on? Is that becoming popular now? Alright, here we go.
そこの君。
はい。
When she called to me, I snapped to attention and replied. The otherworldly aura radiating off her entire body had me viewing her as someone older than myself, but then again I knew for a fact that she and I were in the same year of school. FES signaled towards Masumi-kun and had been following her around with a jerk of the chin.
付き合わない方がいいわよ。こんな人と。
おいおいこんな人呼ばわりはひどくねっていうかこんな人ってどんな人だよ
鬱陶しい人。
はあ
Oh boy. The look on Masumi-kun's face turned very cruelly sour, but FES left the sharp glint in her eye unanswered, running past her by without any interest. What a nasty atmosphere. I didn't want to be involved in this. I was a total embarrassment when it came to fighting, but be it physically or verbally. Besides, if it caused any problems at school, it had an impact on my evaluations. To avoid getting caught up in it, I should probably get out of here right away.
何もしかして岸本さんさ俺のことバカにしてる
Oh boy, here we go.
別に。でも迷惑よ。
あ、そうなんだそういうこと言うんだ岸本さんってちょっとさ人のいないところで二人でゆっくり話そうぜ
Masumi-kun placed a hand on the FES's shoulder, his smile trembling with rage, her eyebrows twitching in response. Oh
触ら
shit.
ない。
そう言うなっていいからちょっと付き合ってよ
触らないでって言ってるの。
うっせえなついてこいって言ってんだよ
バカな人。
It happened in an instant. Oh shit. Even though I'd seen the whole thing, I still couldn't comprehend exactly what happened. Oh shit! Before I could even blink, that awesome mic stand, or maybe it was a sword, was now being held tightly at FES's hand. I had no idea where she retrieved it from, but she now brandished it with incredible ease. And then... Masumi-kun's left hand was cleanly severed from his wrist. An explosion of blood erupted from the wound, and the severed hand fell to the floor. The hallway was turning crimson. I hadn't seen anything. I hadn't seen anything at all. I hadn't seen her draw her sword. I hadn't seen the trail of light it carved when it swung. I hadn't seen Masumi-kun's arm get lopped off. It all happened in the blink of an eye. By the time I realized what happened, it was already over. Damn.
俺の腕
Nisimi-kun collapsed on the spot, frantically picked up his hand and tried desperately to reattach it to his arm. His screams echoed throughout the hallway. All the students around us screamed and ran off in a panic. Oh, shit. As for FES, she was still holding her sword, calmly admiring the chaos. Then, for the second time, she looked at me. Her red tongue slowly cleaned her lips as a fierce blush dyed her cheeks. Her smile stretched the color across her face.
気持ちいい
No such carnage had unfolded. While I was over here drowning in my moronic delusions, FES was murmuring something in a low voice, only to up and disappear soon after.
自信なくすぜクソ
Nisimi-kun was sulking, having been completely and utterly disregarded. Considering how she was able to deter an alpha male of his caliber like he was no lower than a spare on the boot of hers, to deter him was like he was nothing more than a typical monsieur. Maybe the other team was what FES preferred. A true Yuri connoisseur. Maybe, man, or maybe, you know, maybe Masumi's just not that good of a talker.
それはすごくいいスールです
The fuck is a surur? Especially if she was a lolly type character like Nanami. God damn it. That's the stuff. God damn it.
あんな不愛想な女もう二度と相手にしてやるもんかいあーうぜえだいたい何が剣を見つけろだわけわかんね
Finding a sword?
剣
ああ岸本がそう言ってただろ剣を見つけろそうすれば救われるって
Find a sword? Salvation?
なあタクファンタズムの歌にそんな歌詞でもあるのか
Okay, what the fuck is going on now? Like, what really is going on in this fucking game? A sword. Could it be that thing from a delusion earlier? That mic stand that I had been able to figure out if it was a sword or not? Come to think of it, there'd been another person a couple of days ago that interrogated me about a sword. Yeah? That Senna girl. The one who was absolutely terrifying. I'd actually thought she was going to slice me in two. The sword she'd been carrying was a different shape than the one FES had, but they had similar aura to them. Could the two of them be connected somehow? I didn't know. There was way too much shit I didn't know. That's what I'm saying! Fuck is going on, man? Shogun, the demon girl, Yua, FES, Senna, swords. It's one hell of a list. This was my old habit. I jotted down a list of all the things I didn't know enough about in my head. I meant to put myself as one final item of the list, but I decided against it. That was completely normal. It was the stuff happening around me that wasn't. That was the most obvious conclusion. Of course, you are completely and utterly, perfectly sane, Takumi. Was FES my ally or my enemy? It would be nice to know at least that much. Problem was, I didn't have the courage to ask her. Social anxiety strikes once more. Today I headed straight for Anime 8 without stopping by a cafe. The reason, of course, was to finally pick up my long-awaited Bloodtune figure, Zeraton post-awakening version. While I was in checkout, Yua's face crossed my mind for a second, but I cut off those thoughts immediately. I glanced at the Ceratons that were set on display in order to attract customers, but since the sculptor was Kijima Yoshio, and not a single word needed to be said about their quality, I had to get home fast so I could enjoy her every nook and cranny as soon as possible. Yeah. As long as I could admire Ceraton's face every now and then while I play ESO, I was content. So why did the entire third dimension do nothing but bring me trouble? Pray to me even now. Headed straight for my base in high spirits, forgetting all about FES and swords and whatever else, and practically skipping the entire way home. Oh shit. When I was about 50 meters away, I encountered two men who carried an unmistakably abnormal air about them. I attempted to pass by them without making eye contact, but they were very cruelly watching me.
そこの君、ちょっといいかい?
Uh-oh. The first of the two to call out to me was a dull older man, one that looked like he belonged to a sad-going racetrack gambling his life away. His hair was a mess, and his unshaven beard was somehow worse. He wore a worn-out old suit, and a sloppily tied necktie, and dress shoes that didn't show a trace of being cared for. All of it came together to form an unparalleled example of a man who'd failed to get ahead in life. I don't know. I feel like Carrie looked much more of a worse detective, but, you know, this guy's like second. Or Ben is. Ben, not Ben. For some reason, the fact that he was flapping a fan at himself only served to further emphasize how pathetic he looked. His expression was similarly languid, his mouth curved into a flippant smile. And yet, when our eyes met for a split second, I knew that he wasn't really smiling. There was nowhere to run. As I searched for something to reply to them with, the two men made their way up to me.
おじさん、こういうものなんだけどさ。
The older man took out a black badge from his suit and held it out toward me. It was the same kind of police badge you see in various TV shows, but it was obviously the first time I had ever seen a real one. They finally come for me. They could only be here for one thing, the crucifixion case.
ちょっと話を聞かせてもらっていいかい?
Here we go.
もちろん強制じゃないんだけどね。あ、そんな身構えなくていいよ。本当話聞くだけだから。
Okay, so he's going for the Oshi route of being talking. The way he spoke didn't show a choice of trying to intimidate me. The other younger detective, however, wore a strict expression as he nonchalantly moved to block my path. Sweat started running down my neck. If I made any wrong moves, they'd likely suspect me of being the culprit and haul me down to the station right then and there. Didn't want that to happen. Do not have a delusion right now, man. I resigned myself and gave a small nod.
君さ、俗に言うニュージェネレーションの狂気って知ってるかな?
Ooh. I knew it. I wiped the beads of sweat off my forehead, then gave him a nod in reply.
じゃあ、3番目に起きた通称貼り付け殺人事件も当然知ってるよね。この近所で起きたわけなんだけども、その目撃者を探してるわけよ。
Of course.
ちなみに君、名前聞かせてくれる?
Uh-oh. A gulp forced itself down my throat. This wasn't some bait and switch shit, was it? Or maybe they were a bunch of conmen who were only acting like policemen, while in reality they were just mining my personal information so they could put it to an ill use. They could even be the demon girl's underlings.
あれ? 答えてくんないのかな?
If they started to suspect me, there'd be no end to it. What should I do? If I gave them a fake name, they might arrest me immediately.
ああ、個人情報保護法とか気にしてる? おじさんそんなに信用なさそうに見えるかな?
I'll say. Well, yeah, he has a point there. Either way, his friendly way of speaking had to be just an act.
Nishijou, Takumi.
In the end, I figured there was no way around it. No, it was my best interest to answer honestly.
西条匠君でいいかい?
I shook my head.
本当に?
Ooh. Huh? What was that supposed to mean? I purposely given him my real name, so what the hell was that reaction?
いや、これは失礼。今のは気にしないでくれ。
You know what? It's not only remind me of Oshi, but it's remind me of the detective from American Psycho. If you guys have seen that movie, played by William Dafoe. Did we ever get a name for that detective character? I think his name was just Detective. They probably gave it, but I completely forgot it. Because yeah, the detective character is in like only 2 scenes in the entire movie, but goddamn is it memorable like the rest of the movie. But anyway. It's giving that exact same vibe of like, does this guy know more than what he's winning on? We know that he knows more than Takumi knows, but how much more does he know? The detectives on natural rafter ring throughout the quiet residential area. Just hurry up and let me go already.
その制服水明だよね。何年生？
Did I have to answer stuff like that?
悪いね。聞き取れなかった。おじさんもう年だから耳遠くてさ。もう一度言ってくれる
2年生
God, this guy really does, like, his outfit really is like Harry's from Disco Elysium. Just make the jacket green, necktie just a bit polka dotted, give him green pants, there you go, you got it.
ああ、2年生ね。どうも。で、西条さん。聞きたいことってのは、先月の29日の午後6時から10時頃にかけて、どこで何してたかなんだわ。
Oh boy, here we go. Were they asking me for my alibi? Did that mean they suspected me? That's ridiculous.
いや、別に君を疑ってるわけじゃなくてさ。その時間にこの近くにいたなら、怪しい人物を見かけたとか、何か音を聞いたとか、ないかと思ってね。
Of course, that's all. For some reason, the way the guy talked was really starting to get to me. Maybe talking in a way that deliberately agitated the subject was some kind of negotiation technique. Of course, I had seen someone suspicious. I'd seen someone very clearly, and with my own two eyes. But I wasn't sure if it would be a good idea to tell them that to the shady old guy. What would I do if I told him and then the demon girl came back for revenge? It seemed like the demon girl was letting me run free for now, but she still had Shogun on her side, and he was equipped with precognitive powers, so by that logic, that must have meant that the demon girl had some sort of insane power as well. And if that was true, and I told the police about it, she might find out about it immediately because of her clairvoyance or whatever, then she'd come to kill me right after.
なあ、西条君。今日はそんなに暑いか。
Phew. My heart really skyrocketed. If I stayed silent like this, they would absolutely suspect me of being the criminal, but at the same time I was scared that if I lied and said I didn't see anything, they'd see right through me. The older man fanned me a couple of times with his fan. A cool breeze rustled my hair.
もうすっかり秋だ。汗かくほど暑いとは思えんけどな。まあ、体質ってのは人それぞれだしな。
Of course, yes. Ironic, considering he was the one walking around with a fan, but he was right. It wasn't all that hot out today. It was perfect, actually. The kind of temperature you'd actually enjoy spending time in. I'd wiped the sweat off my forehead with my sleeve countless times now.
僕はやってない
Ooh. That's one hell of a response. The look in his eye shifted. I realized I had slipped up, but I had no idea what exactly had tipped him off.
何をやっていないんだ
They definitely suspected me. I had to answer honestly. Staring at the manhole and cover right beneath my feet, I began to blurt out everything. Oh, shit.
見たんです貼り付けの現場そこに女がいたんですで血まみれにして死体の前に杭がたくさん死体に突き刺さっててあれ500本は絶対超えてた異常だ死体がハリネズミみたいになってて女は僕を見てよかったって笑ってたあの女は悪魔だ人間じゃないニュージェネの母には人を超えた存在なんだヨシとかすごい超能力とか使う
Upon saying that much, I realized the two detectives were staring at me with their eyes wide. Maybe they didn't believe me, thinking that I cramped my mouth shut.
悪魔か。なるほどね。そいつは参考になった。
Not a hodo, indeed.
本当です
ああ、わかってるわかってる。貴重な情報だよ。
僕を警察で、守ってください。
その前に、その女の年はわかる？服装とか、顔の特徴とか。
水明。
No.
水明って、水明学園？
その制服着てた。
つまり、西条君と同じ学校の生徒か。
After simmering on that for a moment, the old man grinned. He then muttered something that could be either an actual question or him just mumbling to himself.
何年生だろうな、その女子高生は。何年生だと思う？西条君。
わからない。
じゃあ、なんて名前だと思う？
わからないよ。僕はあの悪魔の名前なんて知らない。
その女の身長、体重、あとついでに3サイズについて。
What is up with this old man? He doesn't believe you. Is he screwing me? How was I supposed to know even a single one of those? Did he think I could instantly get all of those measurements from a single glance? Oh yeah, sure, I absolutely had such a stupid power. Oh wait, no I didn't, because this wasn't a goddamn rom-com manga.
なるほど。黙ってるってことは、わからないってことだね。結構。参考になったよ。これは本部に戻って検討しないといかんな。
先輩、マジっすか？
Waving his hand to silence the dumbfounded younger detective, the older man signaled something to him with his eyes.
西条君、ちなみに連絡先とか教えてもらえる？
なんで？
I knew they wouldn't believe me. They wanted to label me as some nut job and falsely accuse me of everything.
ああ、だって悪魔だっけ？そいつから君を守らなくちゃならないだろ？
Oh, so that was why he asked. Oh, thank God they actually believed me. Kind of. Like, not 100%, but kind of. If I could get the police to protect me, it would be incredibly reassuring. Yes, the enemy was a demon, so the police would only get one shot if they went up against her, but it's better than being unarmed. Feeling slightly relieved, I took out the phone I bought a few days prior and showed him my phone number. The younger detective scribbled it down in his notebook. Of course, the younger detective always has a goddamn notebook.
いや、忙しいところありがとうさ。君の身の安全は警察が保証するから、何の心配もしなさんな。じゃあ、また何か聞きたいことができたら電話するかもしんないんで、その時はよろしくね。イルスとか使わないでくれよ。今のところ警察にとっては君は重要な人物だからな。
え？
君の目撃証言は事件解決の重要な手がかりになりそうだ。じゃあな。
There they go. The two detectives bowed their heads and promptly took off. After taking a glance at me over his shoulder, the young detective whispered something to the older one. The older man paid him no mind and simply continued to walk. I let out a long, long sigh. That was intense. It was the first time I'd ever been questioned by actual detectives, and I'd been pretty suspicious without meaning to, but they believed me anyway, somehow. God, I'd give anything for the police to arrest the demon girl. Then again, the police didn't have any special powers, so maybe I should keep my expectations low. I then noticed that my mouth had gone incredibly dry without me realizing, so I redirected myself to the nearest vending machine and got myself a cola. Interesting. Well, at least now we have the police, so...
覚醒バージョン残すエロすぎパンモノじゃんか。だがそれがいい。
Of course, man.
顔かわいいよ顔。原作再現度はいまいちだけど、プンプンと漂うエロスが木島義雄らしさだよな。これはこれでグッジョブ。
GJ. What, good job? Yeah, good job. Used on the internet as an expression of admiration or job well done. Yuri, See at the S. Japanese, please. Poster to please post comprehensively. Yeah. Tsundere. Yep. One shot. Theatrical crime. A type of crime committed under full view of the public. These crimes and their subsequent investigations were reported on in detail by mass media, treated almost as if it's a TV special. Ending to this effect, the perpetrators will sometimes even send a declaration of their crimes. For example, some of them may view the criminal as a hero, some may even inspire to commit their own similar crimes. So other individuals are known as copycat criminals. Indeed.
上着キャストオフとかこの角度からじゃほとんど全裸にしか見えんよ
This is a guy that just got interviewed by the police. You know what? It makes sense. We met so many crazy nut jobs anyway, and like Disco Elysium, so it isn't surprising that this.
髪の動きがいいよな覚醒バージョンは髪が命って持論があるわけだが間違ってなかったな、さてそれではお待ちかねパンツいってみようかどれどれ
Of course.
V ゾーンの作り込みいいよシャンの下リアルだしっておおこれスージーさんすげえマジですげえクオリティ高すぎ
The part that got me was the fucking tip at the top that said, "New tip, awesome sauce." I fucking love that word so much, awesome sauce. I use it just like every now and then in like talking to my friends because it's just it's one hell of a word. And, you know, it's being referred to in this question about, you know, a girl's vagina. Oh my god, this game can be so fucking just funny.
これセーラタン5作目にして早くも最高傑作爆誕じゃねえこれ以上すごいのなんて出せないってマジでやっぱ木島は神
Forget. Fucking, I'm expecting Takumi to start smelling it by this point. Smart smelling the damn fucking figure by this point. Oh, and there she is. I carefully stood my new Saratan next to my monitor. Saratan, you're so sexy, Sarah. Simply looking over her made me grin uncontrollable. Boy, life was good. And of course, he don't put the damn skirt back on her. Or maybe that's the original. I don't know. Simply looking over her made me grin uncontrollably. Life was good. I logged on and immediately started posting my impressions of my new Saratan figure on at channel. When I finished doing that, I went to check my email, then checked to see if anyone of my friends on Fear Power had posted any updates.
おっとマイフレ申請来てるじゃん誰これ
Shogun.
セーラコミの人かはいはいゲイですよ
Now then, time for ESO. You fucking clicked on it without even reading the name. God damn it, Takumi. You can be paranoid, and you can just be stupid at sometimes, man. Make up your damn mind. That's probably because he's too fucking horny over Sarah. Anyway, but the very second I found that, I felt chills on the nape of my neck. It was the gaze, complete with its usual intense presence. Whose eyes are those eyes? Oh, here we go. Damn it, this was not the time. When I had first started feeling the gaze, I'd long since forgotten. Okay, so we got another delusion here. Okay. Go ahead and save. I wonder if these saves are really actually going to be useful, since I'm probably going to do like multiple. I don't know, kind of. Well, there's probably a fast forward button in this game, so like, maybe I'll use the saves, maybe I won't, but whatever. Better be safe than sorry. Let's go with. Yeah, let's keep going with my. We did bad, now let's do good. It slithered its way into each and every part of my life, bothering the shit out of me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with Nanami as the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine then, let's do it. It'll take more than that to make me turn around game. Still fixated on my monitor, I tried to think of some cool lines you'd hear in a manga.
貴様出てこい
Of course, man.
僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか甘いな
Might as well just go with the old fucking thug voice. I'm like, ah, back in the mice. Some bullshit like that, man. Hey, let's see. Oh my god, here we go.
当たり前だ。僕の後ろに立つなと何度言えば。
Huh? Was that a woman's voice just now? Goosebumps stood up all over my body. Had the reclusive owner of the gaze finally decided to show themselves? Was that even possible? Should I turn around and see who it was? But what if she attacked me the moment I did? It was a fairly cute sounding voice, but what if, in reality, a monster far removed from anything human was standing there? No. If that were the case, wouldn't that mean they were getting ready to attack me right now? If I didn't turn around now, I wouldn't even notice that they killed me. Maybe I should say something else to see if they respond. It's possible that the voice I heard was just a hallucination or a delusion or something, so that helped confirm it. And I mean, I talk to my serotonin figure all the time in my head. It had to be the same thing. I tried to be bold and ask, who are you, but I hesitated. If I was to provoke the attacker, it could very easily spell the end for me. It could cause her to finally stop waiting and attack me. So many delusions ran through my head that I found myself completely paralyzed. What should I do? Maybe the whole thing was a product of my own design, and I was just being the world's biggest dumbass. I swear, if the owner of the gaze wasn't here and I'd just been sitting here trembling in fear over nothing, I was going to kill myself. Why is that familiar? Oh god, it really wasn't a hallucination or a delusion. There was someone right behind me. Startled, I reflexively turned around. Oh, ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. What? The fuck? The demon girl. The girl sitting on the sofa was undeniably the same one I'd seen at the crucifixion crime scene. Wait. Hold on. There's something off about this one. The waves on the screen isn't happening. It's the exact same thing that fucking happened with Yua. Did I click the right delusion? Again? Baby, what? And now for some reason I couldn't comprehend, she was just standing there, looking at me, smiling. Oh fuck. She's finally come to kill me. It had to be because of the detectives I talked to. She'd seen me do it with her clairvoyance. Because of that, she had infiltrated my base without making a sound, took up a position in which she could kill me at any moment. Now she was leveling my fears. I cried and screamed in terror. Couldn't be anything else. Don't kill me, I tried to scream, but I was too terrified to make a sound. What? Tilting her head neck to the side, the demon girl unleashed a strange incantation. It had to be some demonic tongue. She was cursing me. Well, it's more Australian than, demonic, but, In hopes of gaining as much distance as possible from her, I went to hide underneath my desk. Problem was, I was so shaken that I ended up bashing my head into the edge of it, going to be unable to move as I writhed in pain. Even now, the demon girl was keeping up her amused smile. But it had to be a trap, one built to lure me into a false sense of security. The second I let my guard down, she'd swoop in and end me, or maybe she already had with that curse she placed on me a minute ago. In a few days, my entire body would suddenly start spewing blood everywhere, and I'd die right then and there. I got down on my hands and knees, cradling my head in between my arms. Those goddamn detectives that completely fucked me over. Oh, yeah.
警察に喋ったこと謝るから。
警察？
それに話してもちっとも信じてもらえてなかったし。
Oh shit. It was a lie meant to buy me some time. The older detective had said he guaranteed my safety. If he was doing his job properly, he'd have to send at least one officer over to my place. Upon thinking that, I suddenly realized I'd given the old man my phone number, but I hadn't given him my address. Well,
ピシッ
yeah, this is real. Suddenly, the demon girl assumed a pose resembling a salute. What was it just as, if not more strange, was what she said? It was almost like a sound effect. Was that another demonic curse?
独り言はやめるべし殺さないでとか警察がどうとか私には何のことかさっぱりだよ
What the fuck are you talking about? What? Was she trying to play dumb? Or was this her roundabout way of threatening me? And in actuality, she was saying, forget the truth, act as if nothing ever happened? What the hell was she thinking? Had she come here to kill me?
ほら立てる立とう
The demon girl got up from the couch and reached her hand out to me. Her expression was so gentle, and now that I was seeing her up close, she was actually pretty cute. Damn it, I was letting her get to me. Stop acting like a goddamn idiot. Was I seriously calling a demon pretty cute? She was a murderer. She used Yura and Shogun to trap me, and now she come to finish me off herself. Don't trust her. I'd already learned my lesson back with Yua. I'd never make the same mistake again. I refused to take her hand. Don't be deceived by this demon girl's smile. She was a demon trying to tempt me. If I gave in to that temptation, I'd die. Trust no one. Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything anyone says.
見たんだお前が人を殺してるとこ
あのさタクそれかなりひどいこと言ってるって気づいてるまさか殺人犯呼ばわりされるなんてねははは
The fuck is up with you? What was she gonna do with me?
ニュージェネの
Just like with the guy in the fourth case, was she gonna...
殺すんでしょそれとも岩とか将軍とかがいる場所に連れてって
ユア将軍誰それ
Maybe the three of them had decided to work together. That way I wouldn't be able to fight back when they beat me to death.
そんなのやだ助けて
じゃあね私を殺人犯扱いしなければ助けてあげる
So that was her true goal.
そんなビビらないでよいちいち私がへこむようなリアクションしてくれるよね
Always?
お願いだもう二度と誰にも喋らないからだから見逃して
もしもーしタクちょっと落ち着こう
This bitch acting like we were close or something, calling me Taku and shit. Wait, actually, how did she know my name? She'd already known it back when we first met at the crucifixion crime scene. How? How did she know it? And also, how had she known where my base was?
当然でしょあなたの名前を知ってるのは
What? Damn. Had she just read my mind? I knew she was clairvoyant. She knew my name, my address, all because she used her powers on me.
タクって結構独り言多いよね
Oh.
前から思ってたことだけど
Always done that? Always? How long was she talking? Wait, had I been talking to myself out loud just now? I hadn't been aware of it at all. Is that really true? Had I really been talking to myself out loud? Was it possible that she was just lying to me and in actuality she read my mind? Well, which is more believable, Takumi? Huh? That you talk to yourself or that she reads minds? I don't know.
タクの名前を知らないわけないよ私物覚えはそんなに良くない方だけど
Wouldn't?
友達の名前くらい覚えるよ
Friends? Friends?
それともタク私のことバカにしてるそりゃ私テストの点数はそんなに良くないけど面と向かってそういうこと言われると傷ついちゃうな
What the what the fuck? Was someone here crazy? But who was it? Me? Her?
もしかして転校生
そういえば近いうちに転校生が来るらしいよスカチン先生が言ってた
What? There were two different conversations going on here. My terror from earlier, together with the anxiety of having no idea when I'd get killed, was starting to fade. But rushing in to replace it was a completely new kind of dread, settling in to slowly erode my mind.
もしもしその顔はまさかまだ信じてくれてない？
誰だ？
Who was she? A murderer? A demon girl? That was who.
タクこそクラスメートの顔を覚えてないんだ。ひどー。
Classmate? Did she say classmate? So we weren't just friends but classmates too?
でもまあしょうがないか。タクはあんまり学校来ないもんね。
Okay, that's so true.
だからって私の存在丸ごとなかったことにするのはどうかと思う。私の名前本当に忘れちゃった？そんなことないよね。知ってるでしょ？
What the fuck is going
あ
on?
なたは知ってるはず。
Me. What?
リミ
What?
そう、正解。賞金50円プレゼント。
How the fuck did he learn that? That has never been brought up. No.
え
How? What the fuck?
私、崎畑リミです。なんだ、やっぱり覚えててくれたんだね。
What the fuck is going on?
よかったよかった。
How? Was it true? Was the demon girl's name really Rimi? Why did that name suddenly pop to my head just now? Why did I know this girl's name? Maybe she really was my classmate and friend and I just forgotten? No, there's no way. I'd never even heard of the name Sakahata Rimi. It had to be a fake name. It had to be that when I said Rimi, she just decided that her be her name right then and there. It was like one of those spam emails from a Nigerian prince that use your personal info. Besides, other than Yua, I'd never met a freaky girl who talked to me like we were this close to my wife. And Yua was the demon girl's underling. Wait, that was it! What the girl calling herself Sakihata was doing right now was exactly the same as what you had done. This temptress knew I wasn't used to interacting with pretty girls, so she was attempting to lead me into a trap by behaving all friendly and trying to seduce me. It was the exact same strategy. The thing is, when I barely remembered my classmates' faces at all, and I didn't plan to either, I could say with absolute certainty that I'd never seen this girl's face in the same classroom as me before. Probably. Damn it, I couldn't completely rule it out. After all, whenever I was at school, I was usually glued to my desk until the final bell, pretending to sleep, having delusions, staring at my desk, or refraining reading my textbooks. I didn't do anything else. I had next to no memory of my classmates' names and faces, so I didn't even try to remember any. Which was it? Was she telling the truth, or was it all a lie? No, it didn't matter whether or not we were classmates, because the one thing I knew for sure, the one hard, indisputable fact, was that she had committed murder.
もしかして本気で思い出せないの？さっき頭打ったせいで記憶喪失になっちゃった？
The demon girl reached for my head. I retreated back under the desk to try and avoid her.
タク、変だよ。
What the fuck is going on? Shh. Oh my god. You know what's so funny about this? Is that I can't tell. Is this really a girl that did appear, you know, out of nowhere and is like I have so many thoughts in my head. First of all, Takeumi's not a reliable narrator, so it's totally 100% possible that she is a classmate that Takumi just forgets about because he's that type of dude. His mind ain't all there. Or is she actually like from like a different timeline where like, I don't know, fucking they were best friends with Takumi? Because once again, that fucking equation from Shogun of the world's possibilities have been shortened. What if that's fucking with things? What the fuck?
じゃあ大地に聞いてみて。そ
Daichin?
したらタクも思い出せるかも。
Daichin? What the hell was that? Was that person some sort of secret code? Another demonic incantation?
大地だよ、大地。三角大輔。
Misumi? She knew Misumi-kun's name? Not only that, but she was calling him Daichin? She wouldn't call him that unless they were really close.
ちょっと待ってね。
The demon girl reached out for a bag on the sofa, a bag that wasn't mine, and took out a cell phone.
大地はと。よし、オッケー。
After a bit of it fiddling with the phone, she held it out to me. When I made no motion to take it, the demon girl forced a smile and quickly grabbed my hand.
ほら、固まってないで。
She forced me to hold the cell phone. The demon girl's hands was soft and just a little bit cold. Expected it to be a lot colder, almost like ice, but it wasn't nearly that bad. I guess even murderers had blood flowing through their veins. And because her hand was unexpectedly feminine, my heart had started to pump. No, don't fall for it! She's a demon! I never let her seduce me! I'm anti-3D! Lend me your power, Serotan!
タク、携帯使ったことないの？電話機は耳に当てるんだよ。
Tilting her head, the demon girl peered at my face from point-blank range. With her hand still grabbing mine, she brought the phone up to my ear. But before she did, I quickly looked at the screen. The registered name Daichin was displayed, and it looked like it was already calling them. With no escape, I pressed the receiver up against my ear. I heard the sound of the phone ringing. Eventually, that sound stopped, in its place. What the fuck is going on? Were they saying that to me? Or to the demon girl? Why had they said that? The person on the other end remained silent. They didn't say who they were. It sounded like they were downtown or something, as I could hear a bunch of noise coming through the receiver. I was so confused, my voice wouldn't come out. I had no idea what to say. Oh, god damn it. Misumi-kun, or at least that's who I thought it was, quickly reverted to his normal tone. What? Rimi. Saka Hitada Rimi. Misumi-kun knew her? Well, it wasn't like that was anything unusual. Misumi-kun was a natural-born playboy after all. Wouldn't be surprising if he'd gone out with a demon girl in the past, or even if they were in a super intimate relationship now. That didn't matter to me, though. What I needed to know was whether the demon girl was my classmate or not.
タク、大地出た？
The demon girl once again peered at my face. Shit, she was way too close. I turned my back to her and spoke into the receiver.
僕、西条。
What? Why had he responded so nonchalantly? Him acting so natural made it sound like me being with the demon girl was an everyday occurrence or something. What? Dragging along again? What? Sorry, Kathleen, but was the person on the other end really Misumi-kun? For example, there was the possibility that the demon girl had made a phone call to someone who only sounded like Misumi-kun. Maybe this person who sounded like Misumi-kun was just another underling of hers. It was only pretending to be Misumi-kun in order to trick me. I was starting to doubt anything and everything. I didn't know what was true and what was a lie. Hold on, what the hell kind of trap was this demon girl trying to make me fall into anyway? Why bother with a trap this elaborate? In a situation like this, wouldn't it be easier and quicker for her to just go ahead and kill me already? Or was there some reason behind it? Some kind of prerequisite saying that she had to trick me, even if it meant taking it this slow? No, maybe it was some hidden camera type thing spearheaded by Misumi-kun. The girl wasn't actually my classmate, but Misumi-kun's girlfriend, and he sent her in order to screw with me. As fucking if! If that were the case, how the hell would I explain everything that happened at the crucifixion crime scene?
なんか用か？俺としては野郎からの電話なんてあんま嬉しくねえんだけどな。
His tone of voice sounded exactly like Masumi's-kun's. The more I heard, the more convinced I was that the person on the other end had to be him.
女の口説き方でも教えてもらいたいのか？なわけねえか。
Should I start talking? I sensed the gaze on my back. The girl was staring at me. The chills on the back of my neck still hadn't gone away. What kind of expression was the demon girl making? I wanted to turn around and see for myself, but I was too scared.
で、なんなんだ？今俺も女と一緒なんだよ。なるべく手短に頼むわ。
その
なんだよ。早く言えって。
うちのクラス。
ああ、うちのクラスがどうした？
いる
何か？
女子。
あ？
咲畑って名前の。
Despite steadily becoming more and more incoherent, I somehow managed to explain myself. Suddenly, Masumi-kun stopped responding. Silence. However, I could still hear the noise of the city around him, so the call hadn't disconnected or anything. Why wasn't he talking? The next thing I heard was an extremely exaggerated sigh. Gamer brain. Where did that come from? And not only was it completely out of left field, but he brought up that bullshit condition that's been coined despite having no scientific backing whatsoever. What the fuck? Pranks?
本当？本当にクラスメイト？
お前な、たまにしか学校来ねえから忘れちまったか？
What?
これはともかく、お前は1年の時から同じクラスだろ。
What?
この前だって3人で一緒に映画見に行ったじゃねえか。
I couldn't comprehend what the person that sounded like Masumi-kun was saying. He'd said that the demon girl and I had been in the same class since first year and that the three of us had seen a movie together pretty recently. Pretty recently? But when exactly?
俺がお前とダチになったのだって。最初はリミに付き合わされたのがきっかけだったしな。
What?
俺と同じでリミも物好きだからよ。ニートのお前を気にかけてやってるのは世界広しといえど俺とリミぐらいだぜ。あ、それは言い過ぎか。
There's no way. The words I heard on the other end of the call, not a single one of them felt weird to me. I had absolutely no memory of any of it. I couldn't acknowledge that any of that had happened in the past. I just couldn't. It was all some story that the person who sounded like Masumi-kun had made up. It couldn't be my past. The past could only be established as truth if a person remembered it. So, if I didn't remember it, it wasn't true.
っていうか、リミってマジで女っ気ないよな。おっと、これはあいつには言うなよ。
君は誰だ？
おいおい、マジでおかしくなったな。俺のことまで忘れたわけか？ゲームやりすぎ。
Unable to take it anymore, I hung up the phone. Oh, dude. What is this case? Is it... Oh my god, it could either be... It really could either be... This girl this girl comes from like a different timeline or some shit like that, or something somewhere else and appeared here, right? Maybe that demon girl is like the original version of Wimmy in this timeline that killed that guy is the new gen murder. But no. Wimmy still, that demon girl Rimi still recognized Takumi. She still recognized him. So what? Or is it the fact that Takumi has such a fucked up brain that he doesn't remember this girl at all? But is he really that far? Shit, he could be that far gone, honestly. My breathing had grown extremely heavy without me noticing. The sweat that it had been beading on my forehead showed no signs of stopping. In fact, it was increasing. Long trails of sweat trickled down my entire body, starting from my face and ending at my feet.
たく、汗びっしょりだよ。
The demon girl, looking worried about me, calmly offered me a handkerchief. Cute, patternless, vermin handkerchief. There was a faint forest scent to it. Instead of taking it, I attempted to somehow maintain my composure and organize my thoughts about everything that was happening. But in the end, it didn't go too well. I was down in anything and everything, causing all my thoughts to rapidly churn together into a chaotic whirlpool. Sighing in minor disappointment, the demon girl put away her handkerchief, and then with a triumphant look on her face, she asked me a question.
で、大臣はなんて?
She was acting like she already knew the answer. I couldn't afford to answer her. What was she? An ordinary classmate of mine, or a monster? I had no idea. Maybe I was the crazy one. Taking the chat with Shogun into consideration, I couldn't rule out the possibility that someone other than myself was controlling my body. Or maybe all my memories of that demon girl, the girl named Sakahata Rimi, had somehow gotten knocked right out of me due to some freak accident or something. At this point, I didn't even know anything about myself for sure. Did I have amnesia? Did I sleepwalk? Or could it be something else entirely?
大丈夫? 体、辛いならソファーで横になる?
The demon girl spoke to me kindly. Don't let your guard down. Anyone who acts nice to attack a freak like me must have some kind of ulterior motive. I shook my head, putting my strong will to resist against the demon girl on full display. Then using that same strength, I raised my head. Sweat got in my eyes, burning my vision. The demon girl's face was a lot closer than I expected it to be. What color eyes were those?
なんで
何何?
ここにいる
なんでって、タクに会いに来たんだよ。もしかして、勝手に部屋に入ったこと、怒ってる？でもそれは、タクがちっとも返事してくれないから悪いんだよ。結構長い時間、ノックしてたんだから。
Shit. I thrusted the cell phone she'd given me back at her. As I watched the demon girl timidly take it back, I asked her once again.
なんで
今度は何?
ここにいる
What was her reason for coming here? If she'd come to kill me, she would have done it a long time ago. So why wasn't she doing anything?
ああ、ここに来た理由? ね。
The demon girl reached into her bag and pulled out a single sheet of paper.
はい。
What?
進路希望のプリント持ってきてあげたの。
What? I found myself taking it from her without really thinking. She wasn't lying. Piece of paper did have post-graduation's aspirations written on it, along with free break spaces to write your answers in. Was that it? Was that really all she'd come for?
帰ってよ
I don't want anything to do with her. I don't want anything to do with any 3D girls. This is a trap. Don't listen to her. This isn't reality. This is a game, one filled with bugs. There are way too many contradictions. It doesn't hold together as a proper story. An error.
僕に関わらないでよ
If you don't intend to kill me, then just leave me alone. I am me. Some me that isn't me may be friends with Sakahata Rimi, but that me has nothing to do with the current me. Creating in my head, I closed myself off completely. I kept trembling and trembling, visioning that the girl known as Sakahata Rimi wasn't there anymore. Not long after, I heard the sound of the door opening, telling me that the demon girl had left. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? No, seriously. What the fuck? What is going on in this game? Like, I am so, like I'm trying to, like, I'm trying to think of something. Also, I just noted, there's fucking, our card from Tsukihime right there. Anyway, but that's besides the point. What the fuck is going on? I'm trying is Takumi really that far gone? Or what the fuck is happening? I don't know. Like, I can make theories, but I'm not sure about any of it. What is this game about? What the fuck is up with the swords? What's up with the girls? What's up with what's with the new gen murders? And who the fuck is Rimi? And who was the person that tried to call Takumi as well? What? And who the fuck are the men in black? What is going on in this game? Oh my god. I keep looking at our card from Tsukihime now. Yet another visual novel I need to play in the future. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, I feel like this is just a good spot to end things here because I feel I have a lot to digest. But I doubt I'm going to digest it enough. I'm going to accept it, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know. I don't know, but by guys, it's hooked me. What the fuck is going on? Anyway, if you guys have enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you tell me something, put it down in the comments below. Check out the Discord server I'm in, or my Twitter. Check the description below. And yeah, this has been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!